is Parker Nirenstein, this is Vehicle Versions, and today we are driving a Lamborghini. Not this Lamborghini, one that costs 10 times more. I'm so freaking excited. Now, judging by the title, you guys already know that I am driving a Lamborghini Reventon. I was actually going to review one 2 years ago at Monterey Car Week. The owners of the car are the friendliest people I've ever met, and they were like, no, just take the keys, take it for a spin. So pumped, about to do it, and boom, I see the car drive away. Who's driving the car? Freaking Alejandro. 2 years later, it's at Alejandro's house right now. We're gonna go pick it up. Good morning, Ariana. Well, here it is, guys, the $2 million Lamborghini Reventon. Let's go ahead and fire up that 6.5 liter V12 and see what this thing is like to drive. Just stopped at the gas station so James could fill up his car, and he just noticed that the license plate on the Reventon says Gotham. Obviously, it looks pretty much like the Batmobile, but his car says the Joker. Small world. What are the odds? We are out on top of one of the best roads in Southern California. And first, before I hop in behind the wheel of the car and give it a full review, we've got to talk about the exterior of the Reventon. Obviously, this car looks a bit like a Murcielago, the vehicle which it's based on. And there's some hints of Aventador as well. But the true inspiration for the Reventon is an F-22 Raptor. That's right, the lead design team from Lamborghini actually visited a European NATO base, sat in several aircraft, and that's where they got the inspiration for the design of the Reventon. The chief designer, Manfred Fitzgerald, decided that the F-22 seemed to be the most cutting edge, the most intense aircraft available at the time, and that's how they came up with the design for the Reventon. Because honestly, this is one of the craziest looking vehicles ever made. So if we look at the front end of the Reventon, you notice some similar stylistic elements to the Lamborghini Aventador. Obviously, this car came out in 2008, so this was before the Aventador. Look how complex the headlights are. A row of LEDs here, inlaid in carbon fiber. Now come to the wheels. These are $29,000 a piece and have these carbon fiber blades that create a vortex effect inside of the wheel itself to help cool the standard carbon ceramic brakes. Now you'll notice this is actually an asymmetrical car. The driver's side has an oil cooler located right here, which causes this area to look slightly different than on the passenger side. To the rear of the car, you'll notice angles everywhere, especially for the rear taillights. They're actually made of a heat-resistant material because it gets so hot back here due to the exhaust. Attention to detail on this machine is just out of this world. This is the gas cap. I mean, look at the styling. How did they come up with this stuff? Pop the trunk to put my camera bag in it, and notice this is a Reventon number 7 bag. This is actually car number 7 of 20 that comes with its own satchel. That is awesome. Now, under the hood is a massive 6.5 liter naturally aspirated V12, the same motor that comes in the LP640. However, instead of 640 horsepower, we've been bumped up to 650. So I am sitting behind the wheel of a Lamborghini Reventon. This is, I mean, to say it's an honor is an understatement to be able to drive one of these things. The Reventon was unveiled at the Frankfurt Auto Show in 2007. Just 20 units of the coupe were to be produced, and it had a price of $1.5 million. At the time, it was the most exclusive, most expensive Lamborghini ever built. And it paved the way for the future of exclusive Lamborghinis, like the Sesto Elemento that came after it, then the Veneno, and now the Centenario. Like almost every Lamborghini produced, the Reventon's name comes from a Spanish fighting bull. In this case, Reventon means about to explode. I can't think of a name that fits this vehicle more than about to explode. Behind me is the 6.5 liter naturally aspirated V12 that makes 650 horsepower and 487 pound-feet of torque. Now the car isn't exactly light, but it's not super heavy either. With a curb weight of 3,670 pounds, it's actually hundreds of pounds lighter than the brand new Aventador S. This means 0 to 60 happens in just over 3 seconds. Not bad for a car that came out in 2007. Oh, wow! Oh my God, this thing is fast. That howling selling V12 screams up to its redline of 8,000 RPMs. If you judge the car just based on looks and sounds, the Reventon might be the best car ever made. The E-gear transmission has a hydraulic actuator that's able to activate the clutch without the use of a clutch pedal. So it is basically a manual transmission. However, the person driving the manual transmission isn't very good at it. That is one large shortcoming of this car. Now, it still is an absolute blast to drive, but imagine a Reventon with a manual transmission. Now, that would be wild. Now, the interior of this thing is just as crazy as its outside. Alcantara, carbon, leather, all over. It's very much a military green color, which makes sense given the inspiration for the Reventon. Right there, we've got 7 of 20 located on a plaque there, back in the days where people weren't afraid to tell you which number of car you actually had. Now, in 2009, they came out with a Roadster version. The Reventon Roadster was based off of the LP670 SV, so a little bit more horsepower, same amount of torque. That car, when new, would cost you $2.2 million US dollars. Easily one of the best parts of the Reventon is its TFT LCD display for the tachometer and the speedo. I guarantee you have never seen anything like it. On the left, we have the tachometer that I can't even describe it to you, so I'll just show you video of it. These two lines move upwards towards that 8,000 RPM red line and look like something straight out of a fighter jet. On the right, we have a combination of a speedo that's rolling through different speeds and also has a G meter included as well. So what's the Reventon actually like to drive? Well, very much like a Murcielago. It has the same four-wheel independent suspension, double wishbones, anti-roll bars, etc. It rides hard with very minimal body roll, but you can't get over how big the vehicle feels. Now, riding on Pirelli P0 Corsa tires, you have essentially unlimited grip through the corners. However, the car feels a bit sluggish around corners due to that all-wheel drive system. It doesn't really seem like a vehicle that wants to be pushed through turns whatsoever. Now, when you muster the confidence to start pushing a $2 million car through some corners, it's not bad, but it's definitely not great. So it's not the best in the corners, but how about in a straight line? Oh my God! Oh! It is really fast, and that is one of the best sounding V12s on planet Earth. My God! I will say, for an original hypercar of sorts, it is pretty comfortable. For a car that looks this wild, visibility is actually really good. We've got a massive rear window with excellent visibility. I can easily see the car behind me. Large mirrors that give you a good view of the surrounding environment. Now, over your shoulder, the visibility between 4 and 5 o'clock, basically non-existent. And on this side, yeah, you don't have a prayer of seeing anything. All right, let's go over some of the driving modes, shall we? So we, of course, have normal, what the car starts up in. Then we can click the sport button, which means faster shift time, so you get a little bit less of that swaying motion that, unfortunately, single clutch gearboxes are used to. I'll demonstrate that right now. Let's say I'm going at about 40% throttle. I pull the gear shift, and there's this massive gap where it tries to be smooth, but it ends up feeling like you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, swaying back and forth, and you're gonna get seasick. Put it in sport mode and shift at higher RPMs with more assertion to the throttle, and the gearbox feels quite a bit better. We got a nice straightaway here. Oh yeah. This entire video could just be me reacting to the acceleration. This car is so brutal. There is a traction control button, which we are definitely not going to turn off. All-wheel drive $2 million car with traction off, no thank you. There's also a very handy and easy to use front lift, just like on the Murcielago. That's a button here in the center console. Press that, the car raises relatively quickly, and then up at speed, it automatically declines. It's nice to have that peace of mind. The window switches are located in the center here. You'll notice the piece of glass has this sharp angle to it. It looks almost like a samurai sword. There's also a button here to open the coolest design filler cap of all time, as well as to fold in the mirror and the emergency flashers. The climate control system actually took me a while to find. It's hidden behind this carbon fiber panel where the Lamborghini logo is situated in the center dash, you flip that up, and then you have access to one of the most archaic looking climate control systems I've ever seen in my entire life. But I mean, what do you expect for $1.5 million, right? The seat belts come from the middle of the car here and pull over to the left side of your body. The steering wheel fits in your hand very nicely. It's wrapped in Alcantara. The bottom of it is carbon fiber. The horn is actually not located in the center of the steering wheel, but actually on the spokes on the side to the left and to the right. Let's see what a horn sounds like on a Reventon. That's actually pretty loud. I like it. Located behind the steering wheel are some of the thinnest paddles I've ever seen on a car. In fact, it takes no effort whatsoever to flick a downshift or pull an upshift. Wow, that kicks you in the back so hard. The Reventon is one of those cars that's very fun to drive if you can get over the fact that it costs more than a house. It feels like the car wants to push and understeer. It doesn't have that initial nimble turn-in that you'd expect in an incredibly expensive high-performance car. That being said, the driving experience is out of this world. And the look on people's faces when a matte black fighter jet drives by on the road is absolutely priceless. Now, it wouldn't be true to myself and true to vehicle versions without filming a 5 things I hate about video on a $2 million 1 of 20 Lamborghini. So, that video is coming out soon. You'll have to check it out. But I do have some things to say about the negatives of the Reventon. Stopping on the side of the road to take some pictures, and James is just up in the foliage. He's always looking for foliage. How are the shots up there? Pretty good. I mean, this car is unbelievably photogenic. Instructions on how to take pictures of a Reventon with James Hope. When in doubt, climb a mountain. Got some good shots? Yeah. I don't know how you couldn't with that car.
I know, right?
Oh my God. Guys, look how spectacular this thing looks. I'm blown away. From every angle, the Reventon is one of the most menacing cars ever created. Just look at all the body lines. It's so aggressive and intense. I love the license plate too. So the Reventon has pretty much completely run out of gas within 25 to 30 miles of driving. So I figured I'd take it to the gas station, fill it up, and show you guys exactly how much it costs to fill up a $2 million Lamborghini Reventon. That pops open this piece. Now, this gas cap on a normal Lamborghini Gallardo is $600. So for a Reventon, I do not want to know how much this is worth. Go ahead and fill it up with 87. Nah, just kidding. Well, there you guys go. 16.98 gallons, $62 to fill up the Lamborghini Reventon. Well, unfortunately, it is time to give the car back. I hope you guys enjoyed this exclusive tour of the ridiculous 1 of 20 Lamborghini Reventon. This is the most expensive car that I've ever driven for vehicle versions at between $1.5 and $2 million. It was hard to get used to at first, but after you push the car harder and harder, it started to grow on me. And honestly, after driving it today, I've really started to fall in love with the car. It definitely has its shortcomings. It's sort of a love-hate relationship, but with looks like that, I think I'll let it slide. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.